Hey guys, and welcome to another Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition Nomad 2v2 replay audio commentary. In this game, I'm playing with another one of the guys in my Age of Empires 2 group, Soggy Socks. Soggy Socks is more of a 1v1 player than a team game player. However, his 1v1 experience translates really well to 2v2. And he's probably the player that I've played the most 2v2s with in the past year or so, and we've played quite a lot of Nomad 2v2s together, probably because when we make the queue, I tend to favourite Nomad because that's one of that's my favourite map out of the four most common maps, and we've got quite a good 2v2 win rate together as well, and I enjoy playing with him, and generally it's a good time when we get a game like this. So in this one, I'm playing Malians and Soggy Socks is playing Lithuanians, both two very good civs for Nomad and good 2v2 civs in Nomad. We're playing against Persians and Mayans, also good 2v2 Nomad civ picks. So Mayans being like an archer civ, they can play fire ships, they can go castle drop, they can go eagle warriors in the late game. Persians, they've got a pretty good bonuses for playing water early. They can go camels and cavalry and whatnot as well. Got a good economy once they get going. So I'm going to unpause the game. I've got it set to my view lock. So in this one, I've got an L shape of villages. Got a villager in the south, a villager right across the other side of the map, and a villager to the east side of the map. And immediately with the east villager, I find my dock location. And I'm sending my two villages to the south towards each other to try and find a TC location. And because the villages aren't close together, it's very important to try and get your TC started with one of the villages as soon as you can. And so I ended up using the top one to throw a TC down on the wood line. It's probably a little bit further inland than this TC location spot that I talked about in my previous audio commentary, but because of the situation, that was the best play. So my other villager is going to take a little while to walk to the TC, and my dock is up, and my dock village is already gathering from shorefish. Again, like the previous game, I'm going to use one of my TC villagers to build a house. We've spotted green villager going towards my allies' base, and I think he might have seen a blue villager at the start of the game as well. So we kind of already know the direction of both of the enemies, and I know that I've got a pretty safe spot being on the opposite side of the map to where we think the other two players are. And in this game, my ally and I, we were talking about our strategy for the 2v2, and we're both going to play Feudal Navy. And as Malians, they're a really good civ to go Feudal Navy with, because they get two bonuses to help out with that. This is the newest patch, and in the newest patch, Malians received a really, really good gold bonus that could possibly be overpowered. It's even stronger than the one they used to have 2 years ago. And that's one of this is my first game with Malians in the patch, and I really wanted to try this bonus and go Feudal Galleys and see how that felt. So I'm going to be playing in a very similar style to the previous replay, but the game plays out a lot differently than the previous one. So Malians save wood on their buildings, and that bonus was nerfed in the most recent patch. Previously, they could create a fishing ship from their dock at the start of the game and still be able to afford a TC and a house as well. This one, they can't quite do that, so I'm going heavy onto the wood at the start to try and get the first fishing ship out. I will get it out a little bit earlier than most other civs would be able to, and I'm also bringing in the first boar. Again, I've TC'd in a pretty good spot with a boar very close, and this time I'm putting 3 villages onto the boar and earlier villages onto wood, just to help get that first fishing ship out a little bit quicker, because I'm going to be saving wood on my houses. I'm going to have better fishing ship production than most other civs in the early game. There's some other civs like Italians that have cheaper fishing ships, and Dravidians and Vikings also get some bonuses to help them get their fishing ships out as well, and Persians. So again, I've got 4 on the boar and 4 on wood. I've got my first fishing ship coming out. And the water strategy that my ally and I were talking about is where our dock positions are. They're not that close together, but they're still pretty close together as far as the size of the map is concerned. So I asked him to send a fishing ship to scout between our dock locations for me, just to rule out if there's any enemy docks between us, and if there isn't, we can both go the opposite side of each other and just hold the choke points or push the choke points on the side of the map. It makes it really easy to play water that way, because then it's just like a 1 versus 1. And I'm pretty confident that with the Malian bonuses, and I'm pretty confident playing Feudal water, that we're going to have a good time playing that strategy. So I'm using my sheep to scout. One of the things that is really good for Nomad is if you get multiple boars at the start, and I think in the previous game I only got one, and I'm pretty sure in this game I only got one as well, but I do again have 2 patches of huntables. So in this one it's ostrich instead of deer, and I'm just going to take those after my boars run out. I'm using my sheep to scout around to try and find the extra resources on the map. And there's another patch of ostrich there. So I've got 2 nice gold locations quite close to me. I've got a berry patch that's reasonably far away from my town centre, but considering the fact that I know where the enemy locations probably are, it's probably a safe... Oh, there's another berry patch to the back as well. I think that's the one I end up milling later on in the game. So again, I'm making sure that once my deep fish runs out, that I'm scouting to find the next ones, because I don't want my fishing economy to be going idle. In this one I want to try and get a fast uptime so I can get my ships out, so I'm starting to send more villagers to the hunt to try and get that food coming in. My fishing ship production's really good. It's better than it was in the last audio commentary when I was Berbers, because of the wood savings from Malians. And I think I got my TC up at a pretty good time as well, so I'm having quite good Feudal Age economy in this game, and I end up having a faster uptime. Malians are one of the civs that can get up pretty quickly to Feudal Age, and even with the nerf on their wood saving on the first town centre, they're still probably one of the best Nomad civs in the game, particularly for like 1v1 and 2v2. So there's my ally sending his fishing ship around to my dock, as you can see on the mini-map in the bottom right. And I think he was saying that he didn't see... He's almost scouted the whole line of sight, but there's no enemy dock locations between us. So now we know that I can go to the south of the map and he can go to the northwest, and we can just push 1v1. So I've got Houseluid here. I didn't have to get loom as early with Malians this time, because the boar was quite close, so I was able to get my fishing ship out a bit earlier, and that's another reason why my economy is a little bit better in this game than the last game, because I was able to delay loom. If you get loom early, it costs you several hundred resources over the course of the game, because it's like the villager that would have come out of the town centre at that second, and the amount of resources that they would have gathered over the course of the game if they'd started 30 seconds earlier. So that it's usually a good idea to delay loom as long as you can, unless you're in like a villager war or something. If the enemy is quite close and they're being quite aggressive, it's a good idea to pick it up. So now I'm sending a fishing ship to the south, because we know that there's no enemies in between us, and I've got to try and find the dock locations of the enemy players, and that will help me know where they are and then be able to send my ships that way. So I can see in the south that my fishing ships has found Blue's dock location. And I'm almost up to Feudal Age. I've got plenty of food in the bank, plenty of wood, plenty of gold. I'm going to be looking to put up I've put up a second dock with my dock villager. So I've got 2 dock production of ships ready to go, and I'm going to be looking to make a 3rd dock soon as well. That's why my villager is walking to the south of the map. Straight away I've got 2 galleys coming out. I'm just popping up some walls around my base just in case there's going to be some scouts coming out. And I'm going to be looking to make a blacksmith soon as well. So I'm kind of having to fish forward of my original dock location because I've exhausted the deep fish there. And then, yep, blue has fire ships out. If you're close to an enemy, fire ships are probably the better play than going galleys on Nomad. But I think more recently, galleys has become pretty popular. I think fire ships is good if you want to get on top of someone straight away, but galleys is better if you've got a bit of time to mass them before you take an engagement. And because of the distance, I've got quite a bit of time before blue's fire ships, if they're going to be coming my way, are going to reach me, and I'll be able to beat them quite easily once I've got fletching and a few galleys out. I'm also going to get a couple of fire ships to pop in front of them in case I face a mixed composition, because if I've only got galleys and they've got fire galleys and galleys, it's going to be much more difficult for me to engage them. I'm also grabbing Town Watch as well, because I think Town Watch is a very important upgrade to get early on Nomad, because you really need vision on this map, because you don't know where the enemies are going to be, and like you've got less idea of the direction that their units are going to come from. So I'm starting to amass a navy now, and I found a nice narrow choke point that I can sit my ships in. I think I end up coming forward now with what I've got, and I'm going to be trying to snipe off some enemy fish. So I'm sending my villager down to build the third dock. I'm getting my market up. It's my second building to go up to Castle Age. I've got really good food and gold in the bank, and as I said, the Malian gold bonus just feels so smooth. Like, this was my first game playing with him. I've got 5 on gold, and my gold's just flying in. It feels great. So I was able to disrupt blue's fish, and then he made a stupid mistake, and he's trying to send his fish to the side. He really should have sent them further to the west back to his secondary dock, but I get a really good chance here to snipe off his fishing ships. This is a big mistake for blue, and he really could have just saved those and had them working from a back dock, but he's thrown like several economic units away at this stage. So I was feeling really good once he did this stupid mistake. Now seeing some more fire ships come in. That's too many ships for me to fight at the moment. He's also got a demolition ship in there, so I have to back off and wait for my reinforcements. So the demo's got a pretty good hit on my galleys, but because I've got galleys and 1 fire ship to slow down the progression of the fire ships, it gives me a bit of time to get some damage on them, and then I can just kite them with the ranged attack and take them down. So now green is coming in from the other side with his fire ships as well. So I think I was comming to my ally that it was 2v1, and I've got 5 galleys. That's a good number to easily deal with these fire ships. A bit of a sloppy micro there. I could have saved that low ship. There we go, I've cleaned those up. So I've gotten quite good value out of my navy at the moment. I'm on the way up to Castle Age. I'm still queuing up some galleys, and my economy is looking really good going into Castle Age. And I'm winning water at the moment. We're looking in quite a good position. I'm just going to focus on taking down their fishing economy at the moment. Okay, here we go. Here, blue has made the decision to go back to the dangerous area with his fishing ships, and this is just a really nice clear up for me. It's put him very far behind. So I'm up to the Castle Age. My ally got up a bit before me, which was nice. So we're both quite ahead of the enemy team at this point. Now it's very important when you've cleared out the enemy fish and you're onto attacking their docks to just focus down 1 dock at a time, because if you're focusing 1 dock, that dock's going to go down, whereas if you've got multiple ships attacking multiple docks, the docks are going to go down a lot slower than they would normally. This is a Persian dock, so it's got double hit points, so it's going to take me a while to take down, and there is the possibility that blue is going to try and retake water with his extra hit point stocks if he mashes the ships and garrisons them on the inside. I've got upgrades coming in as soon as I hit castle. I've got bow saw and gold mining. Now as Malians, when you get the gold mining upgrade, instead of getting the regular 15% from the upgrade, you're actually getting a little bit more because the new Malian gold bonus is multiplicative, so you end up getting better than a 30% gold collection rate just from getting that combined with Malians' passive bonus. Also grabbing horse collar because I probably need to make a few farms, but I'm also going to, once I win water, I'm going to start investing more into my fishing economy because that means that water is safe, and then I can start adding more fishing ships, and it's just getting more economy units from production buildings. So it's almost like having extra town centres when you've got docks there being able to make fishing ships. It really, really boosts your food economy. I've got War Galley coming in. We haven't really seen anything else on water. I think my ally said that Green had cleaned him up and he'd stopped investing in water. But I was comfortably winning on my side, so I was just going to use my ships to go in and clean up Green once I'd taken out Blue's docks. And now I'm putting up my third town centre. I'd already made a second one on the berries. I've got plenty of villages in the queue, and I know the enemies are to the east side of the map, so I'm going to start outposting just in case we've got something on land coming, like plumed archers or knights. And I recall my ally saying that he was in a bit of a standoff with Blue right on his north border. There we go, there's a stray fire ship from Blue. I think I mucked up the micro on those fire ships a little bit later on, and then ended up losing one when I didn't really need to, but it didn't really matter. Again, I'm floating lots of wood. I probably could have done a bit of a better job getting into earlier, adding fishing ships, extra fishing ships a bit earlier, and making some more farms. Now that I've noticed that, I'm starting to spam the extra fishing ships, and I need to start making extra docks as well, because I've depleted all of the fishing ships along the south edge of the map, and I need to start moving my dock villages to the south and making docks in the bottom corner so that the fishing is more efficient. So now my ally was calling that he is surrounded by both the enemy bases, and I think he is getting attacked by Blue, and there's some crossbows or something like that. However, I'm like 1,000 points ahead of all the other players at the moment, so I was confident that if I just invest in economy, I've got 4 docks and 3 town centres working, I'll be able to get a really good spot to push them in late castle / early imperial. So I'm starting to look for going into some military on land now, getting up a stable. I want to be going knights or camels, and I want to be using some of the Malians unique unit, the Gebetto. It's just recently got. I really like this unique unit before the latest patch, but they've just had their hit points increase, and I'm really excited to use them even more now that they've become a bit more viable against more units in the game. My ally was asking for some food here. I'd been spending my food on villager production. I probably could have cancelled some villagers in the queue, but I just sent him what I had. I think that was enough. He was looking to get an upgrade or something like that. Getting wheelbarrow coming in because I've got quite a few farms down, and I'm spamming the fishing ships. I think I end up grabbing gill nets in this game. I've got so many fishing ships that it's definitely worth picking up. It really helps with the increasing the amount of food coming in per minute. Again, I've only had 500 gold this whole time, and it just feels like I've got so much gold. Like, I've had no problem spamming military, and it makes it really easy to go to Imperial Age as well, because you don't have to sell wood or something like that to get the extra gold. You can just use it to buy food if you need to. I've currently got 54 on food, which is pretty good for this stage of the game. Probably should have some more villages on gold though, because that will let me click up to Imperial a bit faster. So I've almost cleared up all the water. I can still see there's a green dock there on the northwest edge of the map. I just found another one. And there we go. I'm gonna put down a castle. My ally's got knights running around in Green's base. So I know I probably could have gone maybe a bit more forward with my castle. I'm just playing it safe, because I know that we're ahead in the game and we shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with them once I get to Imperial Age and get some trebuchets out. That's generally how I play the game. Like, I'm one of the players that likes to go to Imperial early and get the trebuchets on the enemy base, and often when I'm early one of the earliest players to do that. It tends to end the game more often than not. Grabbing handcut as well. Got a couple of knights coming across. I'm just going to go and see what green has. I've had absolutely no pressure on land on me at all, which has been fantastic. My ally's been soaking up all of that pressure for me. That's given me a really good spot to just get my economy rolling and steamroll the other players later in the game. Running with a couple of knights, I see that green's gone pikeman, which I found a bit surprising. I guess it makes sense considering that my ally had gone knights. However, I think he would have been better off going for castle and plumed archers, because they're really good in Castle Age. But I guess because my ally had knights earlier than he would have had a castle up, the pikeman was probably a knee-jerk reaction to that. So now my resources are looking quite good. I'm adding a couple extra knights. I'm starting to make some Gebettos, so I'm going to be looking to go to the Imperial Age. Starting to add more villages on gold. We've got 70, almost 70 villages on food, or economic units on food now, and my food's just flying in from the fishing ships. Did I actually get gill nets in this game? Let's see if I did. Dock, where are we? Yes, I did get it. So 25% faster gathering rate, which is really nice. There we go, I'm going to Imperial Age. My town centres have been working the whole time. I've had absolutely no trouble with the food economy because we won water and we've invested very heavily into the fishing ships. I probably, again, I'm still floating a bit of wood. I could have been using my dock villager to spam docks around the south side of the map just so that the fishing was more efficient. I'm starting to get the upgrades on my military units. I've got some Gebettos. I'm going to go in and see if I can get some villager picks with them. There we go, the mine player's finally got a castle up, and he's put it on the side of the map where I am, because he's probably a bit more worried about me and my score than he is about my ally. And one thing Gebettos are really good at is they're good at destroying buildings. So they're good at, you can just sit them there attacking building foundations when they're not doing anything else, and they'll take them down pretty quickly. So that barracks, probably an extra one to get some extra pikemen out. And then Gebettos are also really good at taking down houses, and one of the things you can do is if you've got a handful of Gebettos, you can just attack the enemy houses and pull pressure on them. You might get them housed if you continue to do that. Just dive in here and interrupting his economy. And the enemy, now that he sees that I've got Gebettos, he's gone Scorpions. I think he had those before. So I'm just going to dive those with my knights, and I'm just going to kill that walling villager, and then just right-click the houses, because that's going to be annoying for him. Just about to get into Imp, and I'm going to get some trebuchets out. Spamming the knights into his eco. Doesn't look like he's got much military there. There's a mangonel, and then here's my ally with some pressure from the north side of the map. Good mangonel shot from him. And one mistake I made that I noticed when I was watching this replay is I've got my castle waypoint queued where the Gebettos are just running in and getting shot by the enemy castle. I didn't notice that at all when I was playing. I grabbed the light cab upgrade. And then, yeah, the green's just resigned because, yeah, he's getting pummeled by both of us. Blue didn't really do... Like, even though he had a castle on my allies, the outside of my allies' base, and he was, like, picking at him with some crossbows, he really didn't have too much impact. Alright, that's the end of this replay. Thanks for watching, and I might post some more of these in the near future.